Hey guys, there's been a lot of changes in the Crucible these past week, um, for better and some worse. And I kind of just want to give my opinion on the state of the game. Maybe like my opinion, how I see things could go from here, um, and maybe just just the good and the bad of these changes that Bungie's implemented. So I guess we should start with the good first, and then work our way towards the bad. Start off a little positive. Um, One of the biggest positive changes I've seen is the better loot incentive in Trials and Crucible in general. Um, for Trials, I think it's called the Passage of Persistence, where if you just play enough games, you'll get an adept drop, like no matter how many times you lose. This is very good because it incentivizes like players of all skill levels to stay in the playlist longer. Um, we shouldn't be gatekeeping adept weapons, and you know, if a player plays enough trials, like you really gotta like kind of grind if you're losing a lot to get those 7 wins for the passage to get that one singular adept drop. So I think it's a good change to let every player, if they put in the effort to get those weapons, because some of those weapons are really really good. Like Igneous Hammer has been dominating trials for the past couple months, and so we shouldn't be gatekeeping these like meta-defining weapons for anybody and everybody. I know that those they're only like minor improvements from like the non-adept weapons, but at the same time, we shouldn't be gatekeeping those weapons because they are like better, like just better weapons in general than the non-adept version. So it is very good that Bungie's implemented a way that any player, if they play enough, can get those weapons. And even then, like it's still only one drop. It's not like you're guaranteed a god roll or anything. So you really would have to play a lot of trials to get a god roll of an adept weapon. If you're strictly going off the drops from that passage where you don't have to go flawless. Um, I would also say too that with this extra incentive, more players of all skill levels feel like there's like a light at the end of the tunnel, and they'll stay in the playlist longer, which is better for every trials player, good or bad, because with more skill variety in trials, there is a better chance for players to win and go flawless. Um, Streamers who do carries, um, people who are just trying to play with their friends, you know, you get lucky and match like seven like bad teams in a row, and just luck your way into Lighthouse a little bit easier, or you get carries done easier. But it gives more variety in the trials matchmaking, and more people a better chance at success. So I think this is just a great change that Bungie has implemented. Another good thing I want to talk about is increased weapon variety. This week, I've been using like many different weapons. I know I recorded a game on a hunter with like a pulse and a sidearm. I had like a scout rifle and an SMG on my warlock, and then on my Titan I just tried using the basic old Igneous conditional for my videos this week, and it did seem like you could be successful with any loadout you choose as long as you hit your crits with like your primary weapon and focus on your primary weapon. And I think this is mostly due to the decrease in special ammo for all players throughout the game. Um, with the primary, you don't have to be as worried about a shotgun just running it down on you, or a sniper like holding a lane crouched in the back of the map who just domes you as soon as you peek. So you can play a little bit more freely, and focus on using your primary. Um, and I have seen a lot of people like worry that double primary is the only way you can succeed in trials, and I assure you it is not. Um, Shotguns and snipers are still really viable, but you just have to use them a little bit more conservatively. Um, when using I feel like if you use a shotgun, it's definitely easier to conserve your ammo than using a sniper, because Snipers, you kind of just go for the shots that you think you'll hit, and sometimes you hit them and sometimes you don't, and so you'll go through your ammo with a sniper a lot faster. But with a shotgun, you can more effectively like play your distances and only use it like defensively when someone pushes you. So I feel like you get enough special ammo, even with these changes, to still be successful with like a standard like primary and special loadout. So I don't think there's any need to worry about double primary dominating. Even though I think double primary is very good, I did really enjoy using a scout and SMG, or like a scout and a sidearm, like you're seeing in this gameplay. But yeah, there's really just been a lot of more variety in the Crucible and Special Trials. So I think that is a really big positive for Bungie right now. Now, onto the bad. I still think class variety is not where it needs to be. Everyone, including me, doesn't like the fact that bubbles and wells like can just win games outright, especially with like players who run like very high intellect, so they get the supers first. It still seems like to counter those supers, you need another super, or you need a conditional, or like a Wither Horde, but Wither Horde not so much. More like conditional with the stasis shot. It does seem a lot harder to counter those supers, even more than they were like before this patch, because you don't have the special ammo from conditional as often. So a lot of Solar Warlocks and Sentinel Titans still in running around in trials and dominating. I do think you can be successful with a class that's not one of those two, but you are definitely not playing the most optimally for not playing those classes. Hunter, you know, you can still be successful if you're like invisible, like with a chaperone. You're like either playing for like a pick or like using a sniper. But I don't know. I still think the best way to win is stack up those bubbles and wells, because those supers can largely give you free rounds. I don't really know what Bungie could do to really change that, other than maybe change the game mode from zones. I don't know. I really haven't enjoyed the zone trials like experience since they changed it like I think a year or two or something ago, because it just seems like those classes have like persisted, Solar Warlock and Sentinel Titan, for so long, and not even just the supers, but you know, Warlock or Solar Warlock and Sentinel Titan have like shoulder charge and Icarus dash, so they get to the zone really fast. Then once they're there, they have an overshield barricade that they give to their teammates, or they're like sitting in a healing rift. So it makes it really hard to push, get people off the zone, as once they're on it. I don't know. I think maybe Bungie should either change it back to the old Elim mode, where it was just kill all the other players, win the round, or I don't know, make the mode like not elimination based. That way, like you can use the objective. Maybe like if it was like zone control or something, where you're just holding the zone for the whole match. But I know that would be like a huge change to like the identity of trial, so they probably wouldn't go down that route. Yeah, I know Bungie has said that they put the zone into trials to make people like more aggressive and not like sit in the back of the map and make the games go longer. I mean, that helps lower skill players feel like they're contributing to the win, even if they're not getting kills, because they could just play bubble or well and just get to the zone and healing rift or barricade, which helps capture the zone. But at the same time, is that really like the gameplay that people enjoy playing, or is that what just happens to make people successful when they play the game? And I do think people aren't quite used to these changes yet. I have seen a lot of people who don't like the fact that you can't like 1v3 clutches easily because you don't have like the special ammo to pick off like players who like go by themselves one by one. But I do think all in all that it is a net positive change because you don't have those like RNG special weapon fights as much. So me personally, I would gladly, take having a little bit less special ammo if it meant, and like not being able to clutch as many rounds, if it means that the rounds where I'm not put in that situation, like we have a better chance of just not walking around and getting sniped or like fusion rifle all the time. So I think that emphasis on primary gameplay has really improved PvP right now. I do think people will grow to appreciate these changes as time goes on. I mean, there are definitely some things that need to be like ironed out. Like, it seems like 140 hand cannons, really, except for like some of the exotic ones, like Ace and Hawkmoon, really like don't feel good in the sandbox. And those ones can still perform well because they have like very like good gimmicks compared to just like a regular like legendary hand cannon. Like Ace, you can just get, it has way more range, so you don't notice that like damage fall off that's so important now to 140s. And also gives that increased forgiveness because it does take off that one of those headshot requirements. You can two-head one body with Mori. And then Hawkmoon, especially with like a holster mod, you can just farm the perk and get the one shot. So those guns are exceptions from like every other 140, just because they have like more range and have those like cheesy gimmicks compared to the other hand cannons. But I don't know. I do think that weapon variety, even if like my favorite guns are like 140 hand cannons, even if they're like not in the best spot right now, I do think that the net weapon variety overall is so much better than it was before. So yeah, it has been a good patch, I think, from Bungie, and I hope they continue to go down this direction. They do need to iron some things out, like wells and bubbles and like zone trials, but I do think this is a good step forward. I'll try. I don't know if I'll do more like voiceover, like commentary type things like this, like discussion videos. Maybe like if a big patch comes, I can talk about that again. If I do kind of want to just stick to just gameplays without commentary, because that is what I've seen a lot of you guys have enjoyed. But yeah, thank you guys for watching and bearing with me. This is like my first like voiceover. Yeah, thank you guys for watching. Have a good day.